Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting video, and in this video we are going to learn how we can create a AWS EC2 instance using a Terraform and going to deploy one simple application on it. As in a previous video, we learned how we can create a EC2 instance using a AWS console, and in this video we are going to learn how we can create using a Terraform. So let's get started. So this is the repository. I'm gonna show you. This is the app directory where my application, the simple application I have created for this demo. You can see this is the Docker file, and this is the main thing I have to explain you. Before that, let's understand what is a Terraform. So Terraform is a infrastructure as a code tool that helps you to create a resources, either a cloud or a on-premise resources, so that you don't need to create a instance or a resources using a console, which is a very manual step. And using a Terraform, you can track and manage whatever resources you have created, and it supports AWS, Azure, Oracle, GCP, and a lot more. If you want to learn more about it, you can go to the official documentation and understand what is a Terraform and how does it work. I will explain you the configuration I have written for this project. So this is the main configuration file where I have mentioned the Terraform provider to use the AWS, and the region I have mentioned in a variable I will show you. And the second main thing is the EC2 instance I am creating. This is the data block which automatically fetching the my image for the EC2 instance. And this is the resource block, basically a key pair. And the key pair name is written as the cloud deploy key. You can write anything here, and this is the key name I'm going to generate using a SSH keygen, and this is going to be a path of public key which I need to provide to cloud so that I can connect to that EC2 instance using the generated private key. And this is the security group that going to be attached to EC2 instance, where I have mentioned the inbound rule and outbound rule for this application, as our application going to be hosted on the port number 3000, and this is the SSH port, as you know. And this is the outbound rule which is mentioning what can our EC2 instance access, which is everything. And this is the resource where the main resource EC2 instance. So what is the name of the EC2 instance, which is I have kept as a cloud deploy, and AMI is coming from the dynamically from the data block, as it is fetching dynamically every time. And this is the instance type, as we are using a micro, and the key pair name I have mentioned that above. There's the resources we are using here, and this is the security group. ID is a kind of a thing that is attached automatically after the resource creation. And this is the user data, as this is application I have built and pushed to the Docker Hub. Let me show you. So this is the image I have built and pushed to the Docker Hub, and this is the user data, as I have already told about this user data. What is the user data? User data generally allow you to ready your instance at the time of a boot. So whenever your instance is creating, after that this script going to be run and your my application going to be run. Okay. So I have mentioned to update the system, install the Docker, enable it, and run my application. So this is the path of that image you can also use. This is a public image, and this is the tag name for the EC2 instance. And what is the variable.tf? As a variable.tf help you to maintain a variable. Like, you don't need to hard code everything here. Suppose you want to keep this name as a variable, so you can mention var dot security group name. And suppose you want to change it in future, so you can directly change the variable dot tf. It will automatically fetch, and there is no need to mention like a hard coded value. So this is a very useful thing. And in our output block, we are telling this is the output block and want the EC2 instance public IP. So this is the configuration I have written about the EC2 instance creation. So let's start the hands-on part. What you need to do, firstly, you have to log into your, if you are using a Windows machine, then create a EC2 instance and log into that and update the system. after it going to be done, you need to clone this repository. Okay, so go here and clone this repository. As I have previously cloned it, so I'm going to into that directory. And what next you have to do is to install the Terraform. So to install the Terraform, you need to come to this URL and just paste this command. Your Terraform going to be installed using these commands. And after that, we need to install the AWS CLI. Using that, Terraform going to be fetch whether which account we need to create the AWS resources. So you can install it using a sudo snap install AWS CLI hyphen classic, or you can install it using AWS documentation. I have installed it previously, so I don't need to install it. And next we need to create the key pair. For that you need to come in a Terraform directory and run this command that automatically create the key pair as name of that. And this going to be create a key pair. One is a private key and second is a public key. And we need a private key at our local machine so that we can connect to that EC2 instance, and public key for to attach that to EC2 instance so that it can match and we can connect to that instance using SSH. So I have previously, so going to overwrite it. So you can see, I will show you whether the key pair is created or not. So you can see the key pair has been created. Okay. Next, we need to do to a Terraform init. Before that, we need to configure the AWS. For that, you need to create the AWS user. So you need to come to the IAM and go to the user and create one user. After that, you have to go inside that user and go to the security credential and need to create a one access key. So let me show you. You can say simply EC2, doesn't matter anything. And you need to copy this and go here and type AWS configure. So it will ask for you the key and ID. So I'm going to paste it. So the Terraform going to be fetched automatically in which account we need to create the resources. As a Terraform work as a dependency graph. So Terraform will automatically know what to create the resources as in order. Basically, if you write this data block at the end of the file, as a Terraform going to automatically identify which resource need to created first and which need to after that. The dependency automatically identify it, and if Terraform unable to do, then you can mention the depends on and the resource name. Okay, so what need to do the next, we need to do a Terraform init. So the Terraform installation is done, Terraform CLI is done, and key pair is done. So we need to do Terraform init. So it's going to be initialize the Terraform as mentioned in this configuration. It will initialize this AWS provider for us. So Terraform initialize done, and you can check the validation of your configuration written for the Terraform using a Terraform validate. It checks whether there is any issue in a configuration of the created Terraform files. It will check whether there is a syntax issue or something else. So if it provide the success means everything is okay. And next we can type Terraform plan. So basically plan, sorry. So basically, Terraform plan is a command that show you the output of a execution that going to be happen. It will show what are resources going to be created. So the resources are not created yet. That going to be created using a Terraform apply. And if you want to provide auto approve, mean it will ask you to enter yes for some resources. So you can simply type hyphen hyphen auto and hyphen approve. So it will create the resources. So you can see there is a plan to add three resources, and in output we are going to be get the EC2 instance IP, and in variable we are mentioning the variable, and so using it as the a var dot region doesn't need to use in a double quotes, and that's all for this configuration. And as I mentioned that user data, so it will take 2-3 minutes to deploy this application or using my Docker image onto the created EC2 instance. As you can see, our EC2 instance is created, and this is the public IP for that instance. So simply we need to go to here and type http double slash and the port number 3000. So after 2 minutes, our app going to be display here. So let's wait for that minute. I will cut the part in between so that you don't need to wait for that. So as you can see, our application has been deployed successfully using a Terraform, as we have mentioned in user data. That application has been built previously, and I have pushed that into a Docker Hub. So you can also use that the visibility is a public, so anyone from the internet can use this image. And if you want to SSH this instance from the terminal, so for that you need that key pair generated. So previously we have generated the key pair, so we need the private key. So see, this is the private key and this is the public key. To SSH it, we need the private key. So for that you can simply type SSH hyphen I and the key pair name, which is cloud deploy key, and what is the user, which is Ubuntu, and Ubuntu at the rate and IP address of that created instance. So going to type yes. So I have connected to that created instance, and if we type sudo docker ps, you can see that our application is running using a Docker. And if you type a Docker images, so you can see there is an image also. So this is how we can create a AWS EC2 instance using Terraform and deploy application using a user data. You can also check the whether the instance is created in your account or not. So you can see this is the instance which is created in my account, and this is how you can create and deploy application on EC2 instance. So you might be thinking how we can destroy the Terraform resources using a single command. So Terraform also provided, which is a Terraform destroy hyphen hyphen auto approve. So using a hyphen hyphen auto approve, you don't need to type yes every time. It will automatically destroy everything. So it maintains a tf.state file that maintains the state of the Terraform resource created. Whatever resources has been created, it will detect and destroy the resources using the tf.state file. Whenever you init and plan the and apply the resources, it will create that tf.state file, and it is necessary to destroy the resources created using a Terraform. Suppose there is a lots of resources created using a Terraform, it take a lot of time to destroy everything using a manually, and don't need to change anything using a manual from a console. You need to install and destroy everything from a Terraform and change everything using a Terraform to keep tracking, and don't need to be generate a conflict between this. So it will destroy all the three resources created using a Terraform, like EC2 instance, security group, and a key pair. We have generated that. So you can go to the AWS console EC2 instance dashboard, and you can see the instance has been destroyed. So all the resources has been destroyed using a Terraform. This is how you can destroy the resources using a Terraform. So that's it for this video. I hope you learned something new, and like this video and share with your friend, and let me know in a comment section whether the video is good, your feedback about it, and मिलते हैं next video में. जय हिंद. Bye.